On News Talk 550 KTSA, the audio podcast of Gang of Four will be up on the Jack Riccardi page, ktsa.com, this afternoon. And as fast as we can, the video, which Lisa will then immediately sit down and watch.
She's going to erase
never.
The
Riveting.
video podcast.
Riveting. Things you've never seen before.
Yeah, that's actually right.
Yes.
That's actually right. Poor Sylvia Rincon. She'll be covered with the spit of Doug Vair and Lisa Hunt at the end.
Oh my goodness, my neck hurts. It's like a tennis match.
She's like the front row.
What's going on?
She's having fun.
And
she's made some great points.
We were talking about the settlement the city reached with the family of Rosita Davila, the woman killed in the Gabe Trevino accident. And we also had the news this week that TABC is investigating two bars here in San Antonio who allegedly served a total of 2 gallons of beer to the guy who was driving the wrong way on I-35 and killed police officer Stephanie Brown last month. So we started to get into this. I feel like with the drunk driving, it's kind of like the political debate over the budget. We just keep saying, let's do more of what we've done before. We're not getting any result. This is a city with a big DWI problem. And
yes,
just doing more of the same is clearly not going to give us any results.
I don't know what the answer is, but I know this, that we already have tremendously stiff penalties.
When someone is injured.
Yes.
And let me tell you that...
But that, it doesn't seem to make any difference. People still want to get gassed up and get behind the wheel of a car.
Well, and I was going to throw this out. It is true that if someone does get injured, if you are involved in DWI manslaughter or some degree of injury, the penalties are stiff. But when you are involved in a first-time DWI...
No injuries.
No injuries. No one's hurt. You're not hurt. You get taken in. It's an in-and-out process. I go to the magistrate's office every day, and I can tell you, not only do I see sheet after sheet of drinking and driving people who have been in and out in 8 hours. They go in that drunk tank. They come right back out. But repeat offenders, 3, 4, multiple times. And their bonds do slowly increase, but until they hurt someone... there really aren't any serious
I think this is like a little kid thing. I think you have to take away something from them that they want, and that would be the vehicle. I think that we could start there. Why can't we just say, you get stopped for drunk driving, okay? We're going to take you to jail, and we're going to take your car somewhere. And we're going to give you X amount of time has to go by before you get it back the first time.
Now that I think about it.
Because it's going to be difficult for them to get another vehicle.
Because they can take your car when you don't have insurance, right?
Well, but they don't. Nobody has insurance.
Well, no, I mean, they do that.
Yeah, but but you've got that loophole,
what's
right?
What's the difference? You don't get a second or first time with the insurance deal. You don't show insurance in your car.
Yeah, but you can get your car back for that loophole.
The problem here, I think, is that you're addressing how do we stop the person who drove drunk.
Right.
But here's what's not working. It isn't having a deterrent effect on other people. In other words, as the penalties get stiffer and this vampire Susan Reed goes around with her blood van, people still are not afraid. Right? It's not like it's had a chilling effect.
They're
it's
not
like people
afraid
are saying,
after the fact, because being drunk is not a normal state of mind.
So this is one thing we talked about.
So
this
they don't
week.
think about it.
We talked about the so-called dram shop laws, because under the dram shop laws, which are the laws that govern TABC license holders, if you're a bar, a restaurant, etc., you can be penalized for serving. You can be liable for the injuries and the damages a drunk driver caused if you served him. My question was, and no one could answer this, including lawyers who do DWI, how is a place like the Flying Saucer, where this guy was drinking, that has hundreds of people, I mean, they're 10 deep at the bar,
and hundreds of
who
beers.
knows?
Yeah.
Who knows who's drinking what and how many and how long they've been there and if they've eaten it, if they drank somewhere else.
They've got nobody else to blame.
Well, I can tell you this.
That to me is a classic case of an unenforceable law. Let's do something. Let's not really think it through. It does.
That's that blame thing again,
It can't be enforced.
I can tell you what we do at Retama. We have a large security officer contingent, and especially on live nights and when we do our 50-cent nights with reduced concession prices, we're very cognizant of people who have had too much to drink. And when we notice it, our security officers will go to them, ask them to please come over. We want to visit with you. We reason with them. We ask them for their car keys, and we call them a cab. And we'll even pay for that cab. So we are very diligent in what we do, but does it stop at all? No, because when you're talking about a 0.08 level of alcohol in your blood system, that's 2 beers.
Right.
That's 2 beers. And somebody can drink 2 beers and be perfectly fine, and another person can drink 2 beers and be drunk.
And there's no way to know if this guy was drinking like that and appeared fine. There's no way to know. We don't know that he was Otis the Town drunk.
Well, no,
not everybody that's going to be in a drunk driving accident is going to be weaving around and slurring their words.
And that's
true
great.
too.
And you're not alone, Doug. I know there are a number of other businesses that do what you do and are very vigilant as much as they can be. But, I mean, you're not going to catch everybody. And it really becomes back to the culture, back to the individual, back to what they're doing and that responsibility.
And that's not going to change because you're not going to change people's way of thinking.
Well, as long as the adult beverage companies are targeting adolescent boys in their advertising, this is never going to change.
What does that have to do with it?
It becomes ingrained in our culture from the time that
so we train people to...
Well, you could say that
yes,
about
absolutely.
tobacco.
We
and-
all you have to do is watch television.
Doug, if we stopped tomorrow, all alcohol advertising...
I'm not saying to do that.
No, but if we did, I don't think you'd end drunk driving or even put a dent in it.
And hard liquor isn't advertised on television anymore. It's just
We already know about
very
it.
regulated.
Isn't it?
But
You can't unring the bell. You can't wave a
You
stick in
can
front of
go
our
for it.
eyes and make us forget about beer.
Right, but hard liquor's not the only thing that's advertised on television.
Right.
So, but I think that's probably because it used to be like smoking. We allowed Marlboros to be advertised on television. We've had a dramatic change in the amount of cigarette consumption. Now, I'm not advocating...
There's still too much smoking while driving.
Yeah, that's right. Now, I'm not advocating that we should pull alcohol advertising
you're
off
not.
the television, but I'm just saying, hey, it may be something that we want to think about.
Until liquor is as expensive as gasoline, we're not going to solve this problem. So, see, that's the...
Is that the end
That's
of
the
it?
end.
Is that how we're ending this
That's how you
discussion?
shut
When we come back, there's more Gang of Four. You're voting in the JR poll at 599-5555. It's 10:56. Here in our Gang of Four today, Sylvia Rincon has sat in that chair, probably literally that chair. Given
Well,
the age
no,
of our
actually, this
furniture.
has all been nice and redone. I used to be in a room over there in the back.
With a folding metal chair.
Karen, I found a new website for dating. This is different. You know, somebody has done something very different. It's called whatsyourprice.com. Now, that doesn't sound like a dating service, does it?
Depends on what kind of date.
If you are tired of facing constant rejection in online dating services, if you're certain that all those cyber strangers would see what a catch you are if they would just give you a chance to impress, a new dating site offers a solution by treating its members like prostitutes and clients. The whatsyourprice.com page is divided into for the generous and for the attractive. So the members are divided into the generous, translation, not so good looking, and thank you, and attractive. Generous members on the website make offers to the attractive members in order to negotiate the terms of a first date. It should be okay, says the website, for someone to pay a man or woman just to go on a date with him or her. A generous member finds an attractive member he or she is interested in and makes an offer. The attractive member then has a chance to accept, reject, or counter the offer with a new price. Now, attractive members can also approach generous members and suggest to them how much they should offer. Once everyone agrees on the cost, the date is set, and whatsyourprice.com's part in the transaction is done.
So romantic.
Well, they do recommend that you don't, they suggest 50% down and 50% at the end of the day. So. Yeah, financing is available.
Yeah.
I have to plug my food at some point.
I don't know why, but I love that idea. I just feel
Do you
like,
really?
I feel like that's sort of like getting to the truth of the matter, isn't it? Really?
But a little prematurely, no?
Well, I know.
I'm just truly glad I'm not dating.
I wouldn't expect women to like this idea because you are holding on to this idea of, you know, true love.
Holding on to this idea of true love.
You know,
my!
this
What has happened
the
to
magic
you?
is going to happen. What has
Magic?
happened to me?
No
I'm in my
magic?
40s.
Is
That's
your
what happened.
wife listening?
But Doug knows what we're talking about here. I mean, it's kind of a transaction already, right?
Of course it is. I mean, you either have to go out for an expensive meal or you just pay for it.
Absolutely.
That's all.
No, Doug. You can just walk on the beach and talk about how you feel.
Yeah, let's talk about our feelings. Let's talk about our feelings.
All right. Love is free.
I have a lot of
Haven't you
old
heard
jokes, but no.
that? It's free. Love doesn't cost you a thing. You can't buy me love.
You can't buy
You
me.
can buy it on that website. By the way, I wonder who decides. Do you just decide you're on the generous side or the attractive side, or does the website sort you out?
Can you be on both?
Like you send your information and they tell you, I hate to tell you this, but you're generous.
One look at you and I'm going to say,
Been
generous.
called many things, but not that. All right, well, we were talking about the maybe you'd end drunk driving if liquor was as expensive as gasoline. By the way, Senator Jeff Wentworth thinks that we should raise, by constitutional amendment, the gas tax from 20 cents to 30 cents a gallon.
Yeah,
So
sure.
50% increase. He says we got to get a lot of money because there's going to be 50 million people in Texas in the next 30 years.
Popular state.
And we got to have a lot more roads and lanes on existing roads. And by the way, he says the gas tax isn't keeping up because we haven't raised it in 20 years.
That's true.
And some people are driving electric cars now. They're not paying any gas tax.
Oh, well,
at
that's
all.
ridiculous. What probably...
How many people is that? Like
3.
1,000?
Two. What probably should be done on that issue is just make it a percentage, make the tax a percentage.
A floating percentage.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that just, people
Well,
then
that's a
they
good
idea.
idea.
Jump up and down and scream about
When are you
raising
running
taxes. But I
for
mean, that's just a
office?
real simple solution to that one. It just fluctuates with the price.
By the way, his proposal, like the gambling one, would require people to vote on it. Good luck with that.
You know, that's the thing about the gaming issue or the gambling issue is I really believe that the legislature's behind the public on this curve. The public, by over 80%, wants the state to vote on whether or not casinos or slot
They
machines
voted in New Jersey.
should be legalized. And every poll that's ever been taken shows that about 62% of the folks in Texas would favor it. But forget the second poll. The first one is overwhelming. 80 to 85% think that we should vote on this issue. Yet we have a significant amount of support in the legislature for the gambling issue. I mean, some really good people that are very much in favor of it. But it just seems like the legislature is so far behind the people, behind the curve on this, and I have a hard time understanding why.
Not only should we vote, but when you vote, you should also be able to bet on the likelihood of it happening.
I love
I think
that.
you should.
How about that?
Like an
Right?
over-under.
You get like a little bit like a free sample.
Well,
Yeah,
Doug, do you
like
know what the
political
problem
bookies.
is? Do you know why they're...
There are.
Yeah.
Sure,
Why
I
they're
know.
being-
I know exactly what the problem is. You have the
knows
Republicans
everything.
have a supermajority right now, and the Republican primaries are controlled by a very small number of people who vote and are very, very vocal and create all kinds of havoc. And those folks are afraid of their primaries. That's what it's about. And so it goes back to this issue of it's important for me to get reelected, not to do what's good for the state.
Speaking of gas prices, and I forget the exact percentage, but I believe somebody said that since the president took office, gas prices have increased by like 100%. Is that right? Something like that?
Sounds
It's
right.
something around that.
Yeah.
And it's his fault.
This week, the president was at a town hall meeting where he was talking about the issue, energy costs. And a questioner asked about gas prices as we are closing in on $4 a gallon, the average nationwide price. The president suggested that the answer was that this guy should trade in for a new car. He said,
Get a new
if
car,
you're
yeah.
complaining about the price of gas and you're only getting 8 miles a gallon, you know you might want to think about a trade-in. Doesn't that sound very tone deaf to you? I mean,
Condescending.
first of all, what car in the market gets 8 miles a gallon? I
Mine.
don't think anything does. No, your car's not on the market, honey.
Oh.
That's he's driving a motor coach to work.
An armored limousine might
Right.
be getting 8 miles a gallon, but I don't even think an F-150 would be better than that,
It's just
right?
I think
Oh, sure.
yeah.
But then the idea that when the price of gas doubles, you tell people buy a new car. I mean, when other politicians have said that, when Bush didn't know the price of milk and stuff like that, I mean, people really rip them apart. I mean, that was an incredibly out of touch
I didn't like it.
response.